So, how did you get involved in this?
Well, Chris rang me and told me that he was going to make a large ensemble piece, which was about Dunkirk, and asked me if I would like to play a Spitfire pilot.
What he clearly didn't tell you at this point is that ensemble applied to everybody else in the film. So tell me about who you're playing and what we see of you in the film.
Well, I play a Spitfire pilot called Farrier, and I think a lot of people who know something about Dunkirk from some of their history, as it were, probably thought that the RAF weren't as present at the time, but there were Spitfires in the sky during the time. So Chris wanted to present a fair representation of the RAF during the time. So I am part of a very small squadron of Spitfires that I don't know if it's a squadron actually, a group of Spitfires that come and provide air support.
One of the people who was probably saying, "Where is the bloody RAF?" all those years ago may, I gather, have been your grandfather. He was a veteran of the Second World War.
I believe he was at Dunkirk actually, but he's not around to ask again. He was in Durham Light Infantry and Seaforth Highlanders for the full war, and then demobbed 6 years afterwards. I remember him telling me stories. Yeah.
Does that add a little extra flavour to the whole experience?
Whether or not my grandfather was actually at Dunkirk or not, my grandfather used to regale stories often because I would ask him about the war, and yes, it influenced me greatly as a young boy.
Now, as Chris was describing, as an ensemble film, but Farrier is stuck in his cockpit. Now, I know Chris really wants to push realism wherever he possibly can, but I'm assuming you didn't actually learn how to fly a Spitfire. So how did you shoot your scenes?
No, I can't fly yet. Maybe one day, but as always, Chris sort of pushed the envelope. He had some of the lads go up in Spitfires, two-seater Spitfires. I know they're a single plane, solo plane. But they do have two-seater ones, so people can get up and fly in them. So he had the lads go up in those. There were pilots in the sky. There were sometimes actors in the sky being filmed in these two-seaters.
We've just spent the last couple of days up at Duxford with Chris and some of the other cast. And one of the things I now know about Spitfires is they're bloody small.
Yeah, is it snug? And it's it's very snug actually, and it's a bit like a Triumph motorbike in the way that it rattles, and it's an old bit of engineering which is really beautiful, and you can guttural sounding the piece of machinery. You can see why so many people love them as a piece of engineering. They are cramped. You've got to really love them, I suppose, to go up in them. As for a working space, it is very tight. It's like sitting in your bedside cabinet, really, for a few hours in a sheepskin and a pair of boots. But it's all good fun.
With 40 people looking at you and an IMAX camera squeezed in.
It's a lot better than flying them in the wall.
It's an extraordinary film in many ways, and one of the most extraordinary things about it is, rather like we've seen you do in Locke, it's just you, and particularly with the RAF section, the mask over your face. I mean, that's complicated acting, isn't it, to carry the emotion of it?
Not really. I think because it's so pragmatic and straightforward, it's the I think what Chris has captured, certainly with the RAF part that I was involved with, was a very pragmatic radio comms dispatch to and from different pilots, which also pilots tend to be incredibly articulate and sort of almost monotone, don't they? A bit like Locke was actually quite as well, where you can hear them very clearly, but when you look at them, they don't seem to be doing much. In many ways, it's quite an interesting environment for acting, to observe and reflect a pilot. And it's almost like a surgeon. They just do something. They tell you what's going on, and they're very clear. And then what they're doing is obviously moving at great speed. And I think therein lies the drama, if there is any, to not milk. Do you know what I mean? To not try to impose a character on something. So whether there's a mask or a hat and a big jacket and the Spitfire, is actually that's what's presented. That's the role. Is the Spitfire is the character really, and Farrier is the pilot of that, and represents obviously symbolic of the RAF and the British spirit, as it were. But it's sort of almost no acting required in that aspect, but more of a doing.
We started with Christopher Nolan. Let's finish with him again, because now three movies in, have you seen him change? How has that relationship for you as actor and director developed and matured?
To be honest, Chris Nolan is just Chris, and he moves. I wonder if, I mean, assuming that he's human, right? he will get better with everything he does, and learn and experience, and look back and, you know, debrief and move forward and engage and challenge himself and do, you know, new and innovative stuff, which is what, from the outside looking in, is for me, I can see that he is. I certainly project that upon him. But there's an essence of just don't ask him anything. He's obviously on his journey to where he's going as a practitioner, and he's brilliant. So nothing has changed in my relationship towards him. Still huge respect, and if he says he's going to do something, I believe it. And if he asks me to be part of that, then it's really, you know, how can I help?
And now I guess, where do I get my face mask?
When can I take a face mask off? And, you know, I'm just grateful to work with him. To be fair, you know, you're going to do something which is proper. You know.
Well, we're glad you did too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.